Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Palworld, and I'm going to show you in this video on how to make a automatic refined ingot area. And it's just an amazing area where you can get a ton of refined ingot. There's actually a couple of spots that you can get a ridiculous amount. And yeah, I'm going to show you step by step what you have to do in order to get it. This one happens to be one of the best ones in the game that I'm on right now, but there are a few others. But let's go ahead and get started and talk about what you need. So you can see my creatures, my pals, are spinning around, getting a whole bunch of stuff. And then I've got some of them picking stuff up and bringing it up to the actual box. Now, there's actually a process that you have to do in order to kind of set this whole thing up. And we're just going to walk through it one by one. So first things first is having the right creatures. So let's go ahead and get started. We need to make sure that you have, in some way, shape, or form, some form of creature that has 3-ish or higher only focus for ore gathering, and then that's kind of like the main thing. So Dig Toys happens to be perfect. You are also going to need a smelting creature of some sort. I suggest Suzaku. It's a really good 3-star, only focuses on the actual gathering of flame, so that's pretty useful. And then the other creature that you're going to need present in some way, shape, or form is a transport creature. You can see that they have their current tasks and they get transporting and stuff like that. Usually van worms are fantastic for this because they have a 3-star transport, and then they're one of the few. Masandas can also be really great for this as well, but the issue with the Masandas is they'll start lumbering. So those are the kind of tames that you need for this. You're going to need something that can actually gather, or something that can transport it, and that's pretty much it. And then one creature to actually burn it. So let's go ahead and show you where I am in the first place. So if you go to this section of the map right here, that is where you spawn. But if you go up to this area, and this is right next to where the sealed realm of the Guardian is, where you can fight Valet. There's a mountain right over here. There's actually a couple of mountains over here, and this one, but this is actually one of the best places in the game because it's actually got a spawn point. You can see all of it around me right now. This one has a combination of like 6 coal rocks and 6 metal nodes, and as long as your tames are up here constantly gathering, they're going to get you an insane amount of both of those resources. You can see there's 715 and there's 613, and I just put this up like a few hours ago. So I've also been smelting stuff as we go. There's ingot, because you can also get just raw ingot out of this, but I'm gonna go ahead and smack that max. There's 309, and as soon as that 309 gets seen, that Suzaku, like we said, is going to come over and begin that process. So all of these are just going to automatically pick things up. The other thing is, if you want to kind of quickly pick stuff up, you can easily go over there and gather it. So what are you going to have to do? Some things that you need to actually pay attention to, right? So one, you need to make sure there's a ton of room in this specific kind of farm. The reason is these creatures, all of them are larger typically, and they will get stuck on each other and stuck on anything in your base that is close together. So you want to make sure that everything is spread out. You can see that my box that they're bringing things to is far apart from the actual refining station, which is far apart from the feed box, and it's all kind of distanced well. So you can see there's my hot springs for my pals, and all of the beds that my pals have are evenly spaced around the edge of the actual pal box. Now, all of this being said, the reason that this works so well is because a lot of people have problems with depressed tames. As you can see in the upper right corner, none of mine are actually having any issues, and the reason is because they're not getting stuck on each other. So you want to minimize the stuff that's close together, and that's going to essentially allow you to get your creatures to just continue to gather and work without causing any major problems. And then if you feel like kind of speeding the whole process up, you can actually go over to this. Now let me talk to you why I have this weird looking wall right in the center, right? So once you get encumbered, which you will get encumbered, you can actually use this wall in order to be a transport point using your grapple gun. And that's very important to have access to, by the way, because if you do not have access to this, it's going to cause big problems. And you need access to be able to actually get up to the top of this thing. So use a 2-high wall and then aim for just above the right-hand side or wherever you place your box, and you'll drop right down in order to be able to just craft a whole bunch of stuff. And you can see that's what I'm working on right now. Now, the reason that we have this thing right here, you can see this is my refined ingot area. We have it close enough so I can actually, when I pick up the ingot and I'm encumbered, if I'm making, I don't know, 500 ingot, I can go ahead and actually click on my grapple gun, and assuming my tames will leave the area right there because they're being turds. Please, thank you. You can go ahead and just grapple to this and then drop all of that stuff right inside of this area, which is really effective, obviously. So yeah, so that's what you want to do. Now let me talk to you about a couple other areas that you're going to want to be able to use for an automatic farm. So the other major areas that you can use, other than this one specifically, are going to be in the desert. And you're going to basically aim for the top of this mountain right here. You can go to, there's another mountain behind this area. In pretty much any desert mountain, there's one here, there's one over here. All of them are going to have some combination of sulfur, metal, and coal on top of them. It's just a little bit more spread out, and there's a higher chance that things are going to spawn in. So you want to avoid that. But this specific spot that I've shown you, as long as you, excuse me, place a PAL box on top of the actual mountain itself, it prevents things from spawning in, which is a huge advantage, obviously, because we want to avoid that from anything spawning in and killing your creatures or causing them problems. It's a huge, huge advantage. So we're going to go ahead and toss this guy out so we can help him out just a little bit. And yeah, so the main things you're going to need: feed box, beds for them to sleep on, some form of entertainment for them. I suggest a hot springs, and then you're just going to need the right creatures in order to make this farm work. So anyways, hopefully all of this makes sense. And the big thing that you're going to want to focus on so they don't get depressed and stuff like that is to spread things out. It makes a big difference, and it makes everything flow just so much better. So hopefully this video helps you out. And if you don't mind, smack that like button. Leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing the channel. And my last thing for you, if you are playing solo player mode, you are actually going to have a hard time doing something like this, because when you log off, everything's done, right? So everything freezes. But if you're playing on an official server or an unofficial server, when you log off, as long as it's still progressing in the background, you're going to have thousands of ingot a day. Now, if you look below, you can actually get 10% off of my Palworld servers. It's like $4 a month for like 4 slots at G Portal, and there's literally a link below that you can click to get that 10% off as well. And I really recommend doing that, just because, yes, I am working with them, and they are a partner of mine, but it also makes your game just a lot smoother overall. So anyways, hopefully this video helps you out, and other than that, teach.